This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by former world champion Darren Barker here, Anthony Joshua, Oleksandr Usyk, undercard and headline event press conference. Darren, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. And we were just talking there that we must have done about 10, 15 interviews in our time together, because I asked you how many you've done, and I'll never get bored of your introduction of me. So
that's nice to know, Darren. I will keep that one.
Yeah, I like. You know, if you keep introducing me as the former IBF middleweight champion of the world, I'll keep giving you interviews, mate. So
the time when I just introduced you as Darren Barker, that's when he said,
you never see me again.
Darren, obviously, it's a big fight week. Anthony Joshua defending his unified titles against Oleksandr Usyk. What have you made of the week so far? What did you take from a very limited workout from the pair of them?
That's the thing. There's not much to take from it, other than the fact that I thought Usyk looked solid. You know, looked bigger than he did against Chisora, growing into the weight, obviously, and from what I'm hearing in camp, still carrying a lot of speed with hand and feet and reactions, which is crucial. But yeah, I just thought he looked like he'd filled out even more than from when he fought Chisora. So yeah, couldn't get too much from the media workout, but I tell you one thing, just coming into this stadium, which pains me to say is very good, being a Chelsea fan. I just can't wait. Like, you sort of, I take myself forward a little bit, just like seconds before that first bell. It's just going to be electric. I can't wait.
With this fight, Darren, how do you think it needs to play out in Anthony Joshua's kind of side of things? Do you expect him to be coming in a little bit leaner and looking to work with Usyk to assert his dominance early on? How do you think he needs to approach this fight?
I do know Anthony, and I know that he's a very competitive guy, and I wouldn't say he's getting annoyed by people saying that Usyk is probably the more superior boxer, but certainly he believes he's as good as a boxer, if not better than Usyk. So there is a chance that he may try and prove that in the fight. You know, people say he's looking leaner. When we interviewed him at the media workout, I thought he looked massive, if I'm honest. I thought he looked solid. But I probably wouldn't advise that, trying to outbox Usyk, if I'm honest. I think that it's the only division in boxing where you can weigh heavier than your opponent by a considerable amount. So if you can do that, and you do have that advantage, because no doubt it is an advantage, you've got to try and get that into play. And that's not being gung-ho and being silly and rushing in and loading up with big shots, but it's forcing your weight and your size and your presence into the contest. And you do that by holding the centre of the ring. You know, like, I can't really demonstrate now, but just grabbing hold of your opponent, pushing them. If you can get hold of Usyk, sort of lean on him, throw him around, you know, jabs to the head, jabs to the body, you know, be solid. One thing with Anthony Joshua, we know he's very quick as it is. He punches very hard. So it's about just grabbing the fight by the horns, not rushing and doing anything silly, because if you start doing that and you start falling over your front foot with the speed that Usyk has to get in and out of range, you will get punished. So I think it's important just for AJ to get that physicality into the contest early on. And as the fight goes on, there's a possibility that Usyk may start to wilt ever so slightly from the shots that he's taken on the arms, lots of jabs in this area here to the chest and the stomach. I think will take their toll, and it would just slow you down. On the flip side, if you're Usyk, you don't want to get backed up too much onto the ropes. I think it's important for him to always allow space behind him. Therefore, he's always got space to get out of danger. So sort of work from the centre of the ring, take a couple of steps back, round and back to centre. So an awful lot of movement is required from Usyk to be successful in this fight. And I think try and get that left hand into play, which is very impressive. And I see something that he done in the Bellew fight. It was very subtle, but you don't really see it through the position where the camera is and Usyk where he stood. But he starts the left hand that finishes the fight straight. And you see Bellew go to parry, and what Usyk does at the last minute, he brings it out wide and catches him. So I expect to see plenty of variation with a backhand from Usyk and plenty of feints. And that's another thing, not to ramble on a bit too much about the tactics side of things, but I think feints will play an important part in this fight. Who will react more to the feints? And they really do sap you mentally the longer the fight goes on. with the size that AJ has, will Usyk react a bit more because of not fear of getting caught, but obviously the difference in power coming up to heavyweight? Will he react a bit more to the feint? So it's such an intriguing fight. It really is. I said it 3 times in the media workout, and it made me laugh because I kept saying it, but it was something that my dad told me when I was a kid. It's like a good big one will always beat a good little one, and that could be the case Saturday.
Do you think in AJ's case he needs to make, or he'll be thinking about wanting to make a statement simply because of Purewal bout taking place 2 weeks after it, and of course what could lead to that undisputed bout for AJ if he was to be successful?
Look, you always, whenever you hear Anthony Joshua talk, he's always talking about impressing the fans and putting on the show and making sure the fans have a good night, and usually that equates to somebody getting knocked out, if I'm honest. You know, look, we're crazy, the human race. Since the day of dawn, we've been, you know, killing each other, and people love to watch battle. And people, let's be honest, this sport has always held and stood the test of time because people do get knocked out in boxing. So people want to see a dramatic finish, and that's exactly the sort of show that Anthony Joshua wants to put on. But the most important thing, regardless of performance or whatever, it's just about him getting the win. Camp Anthony Joshua, Team AJ just want the win, and then he's done his part to try and secure the mega fight, the fight of the century that everyone wants to see. Then it's over to Tyson Fury. So yes, he'll want to perform, he'll want to look good, but the most important thing here, though it sounds very obvious, is true, it's all about winning.
Just want to get your thoughts on a couple of things, Darren, before I do let you go, because obviously time's getting closer towards the press conference starting. I'm sure you, like all of us, saw the Canelo-Alvarez-Caleb-Plant little scuffle, shall we go with, 2 days ago now. What did you make of it?
I'm still quite unsure if motherfucker means. I don't know. Does it mean you fucking? Anyway, let's not go there. But I think he's, there's a bit of loss in translation there. I don't think Caleb-Plant has meant a dig at his mum. Nonetheless, a bit of genuine bad blood doesn't go amiss. I can't stand it when it's manufactured and it's made up and it's bollocks just to put bums on seats, but that looked genuine to me. So it's added a bit of spice to the contest. Caleb-Plant, in my opinion, is going to get walloped. I think he's a good fighter, unbeaten, but we're talking about one of the greatest in Canelo. Whether you like him or hate him, he's a special fighter and far too good for Plant, and now he's got the bit between his teeth. I wouldn't fancy being Plant.
That cut, Darren, if you was going into the remainder of your camp, that's only about 6 weeks away now, that fight for November 6th. Psychologically, is there anything which will be playing on Caleb's mind throughout the remainder of his camp?
I don't think so, mate. I don't think it was a terrible cut, more of a deep scratch. There's still time for that to heal, so I don't think there'll be any problems. You might have to delay sparring for a week, but sometimes that can do you a favour. It stop you from getting any other injuries, but I don't think that will hamper any preparations. Obviously, as well as Canelo having the needle now, Plant will also want to get in there and try his best to knock Canelo out, which is going to be fucking tough. Let's be honest. But no, look, I have no doubt. Come, what's the date? November 6th. They'll both be in tip-top condition and put on a very good show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Right, former IBF World Middleweight Champion Darren Barker, I'll let you get back to your actual job now. Thank you for speaking to me as always, and thanks to Beats Boxing Social.
Have a good one.